Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Buds podcast. This is episode number 144. Wow. And my name is Henry. No Chloe this time around, but she should be back next week. However, joining me remotely is our friend Jacob Bowers, or Jacob number one, as he's also known on the show. So Jacob, man, thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back on.
This time around, we are going to be reviewing Enola Holmes. We're going to be doing that, and then we do have a pick of the week. Since if you haven't caught our last few shows, we have been cutting things down a little bit. It's going to be a pretty tight show for the most part. I guess the last time you were on was the Scarlett Johansson bonus show back in January, so it's been a little bit.
Was it? Wow. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. How's life, man?
You know, it's good.
Yeah.
A lot of time to watch movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been following your Letterboxd.
Except, no theaters.
No, sadly.
Still not open over here or in Greensboro.
Yeah. We were talking about recently, Tenet is going to be the first Christopher Nolan movie I haven't seen in theaters since probably before The Dark Knight.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people talk about their experience seeing it at a drive-in and how it was just awful.
I'm sure. That sounds awful.
It's just not built for that.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to mention. Jacob, any stories over the last 6 months? Anything you want to mention, or
just
it's okay if not, man.
Trying to keep it together.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of Shudder, that streaming service for horror movies. Yeah.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I honestly, I wish I had more to say, but I don't. Okay, Jacob, let's get into our review of Enola Holmes. We do have a clip for it, so take a listen.
A caricature. Perhaps best if Mycroft doesn't see it. Do you intend to stay up there?
I was hoping for some privacy.
You know, last I remember of you, you were quite a timid little thing. You had a pine cone wrapped in wool. Dragged it with you wherever you went. Calling it Dash. Someone told you that Queen Victoria had a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel called Dash, and you decided you wanted the same. And we could never persuade you to put any trousers on. Your bottom was always bare. I think that's all the memories I have.
Thank you. If you could now forget them all.
Okay. Enola Holmes is now on Netflix. It is directed by Harry Bradbeer, and it stars Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill, Sam Claflin, Helena Bonham Carter, Louis Partridge, and maybe a couple others. The synopsis is when Enola Holmes, Sherlock Teens... Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. When Enola Holmes, Sherlock's teen sister, discovers her mother missing, she sets out to find her, becoming a super sleuth in her own right as she outwits her famous brother and unravels a dangerous conspiracy around a mysterious young lord. So this one just premiered on Netflix to pretty good acclaim, pretty big acclaim. Jacob, were you looking forward to this one? Because I guess it's fitting that you and I are doing this because we talked about the two Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes films on the Guy Ritchie bonus show. So it's natural.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be a fun time, and it was. It was a decently fun, family-friendly time.
Sure.
No Oscar-winning performances, for sure, but you don't always need that. Did you see that they're being sued already?
Are they?
Yeah.
Why?
by the Conan Doyle estate.
Oh boy.
Because they were claiming the Conan Doyle estate was claiming that the last couple of books in the whole Sherlock series was when Sherlock started to become a more caring and homely sort of person instead of the calculating, cold, harsh person he is. And they were like, it's clearly what Henry Cavill is portraying. And he was just like, I was just acting, man. And they were just like, how does it feel to be sued for your acting? He was like, nothing surprises me anymore.
Interesting. Okay, well, so overall, you were a fan of this one?
I liked it, yeah. I like Millie Bobby Brown. You know, it's nice to see her getting more roles outside of Stranger Things. You know, Helena Bonham Carter is always great.
Yeah.
I really liked Henry Cavill's performance as Sherlock. You know, I've seen a lot of Sherlock Holmes movies, and I've seen a lot of actors take up the role, and I liked what he brought to it a lot, actually. You know, I'm not like the biggest Henry Cavill fan to begin with, but I did really like his turn as Sherlock Holmes. You know, it was a lot different from what we saw out of, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch, who played it as a very cold sort of, you know, and then Robert Downey Jr. just played him as this like absolute loon. Henry Cavill turned in an almost normal performance for Sherlock. You know, it's like just a regular guy.
Yeah.
Mycroft, big dick though, huge dick.
Huge.
Not a good guy.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard much about it. I had heard that the trailer was out. Other than that, I didn't have a whole lot of interest in it. I liked it. I certainly didn't love it. I think by far the biggest issue for me, and it's fairly broad, but it's just too long. I thought there wasn't enough story there to really warrant its runtime. That's actually probably one of the few issues I have with the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes films, is that they just feel too bloated, or they feel overly long for what the story is. That being said, plenty of movies have storytelling problems, but half of them don't have as charismatic a performance as this one does with Millie Bobby Brown. As I've talked about on the show plenty, I'm not a huge Stranger Things fan. I get the appeal of it, but it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with Millie Bobby Brown. That being said, I still think that this performance, in terms of her departure from that character and that world, it's like you're seeing, it's like this movie is her breakout role, and you're like, man, this girl is going to go places. That's what it felt like in a really good way. It's like she easily could not have been in anything else before this, and the excitement would still be the same. Yeah.
Yeah, you touched on it being too long. I agree with that. I also thought that the pacing and like order of events was very bizarre. Heavy spoilers here. It kind of goes from, you know, her finding out her mom is gone to meeting the boy to going to London, you know, and she does all this to escape the woman's boarding school, and then she finds out her mom's going to blow up Parliament or whatever, and then she winds up going to the women's boarding school and then escaping, and I'm like, I feel like that should have happened at the beginning of the movie if it was going to happen at all. And then he comes and rescues her, and then she's like, oh, we need to go to your house, and then, oh, it's the villain, and then randomly her mom is back, and she's like, I'm not going to blow up Parliament because you solved the case. So, you know, it's like the order of events was very out of whack.
Yeah. And touching on that, I think a lot of the action in the movie felt a little out of place, almost like it was just obliging what had come before it, with like the Robert Downey Jr. ones in particular. Also, the Guy Ritchie-esque style of shooting, where it's these super rapid cuts, and even how some of the action is shot, I felt it really was very reminiscent of Guy Ritchie. When it did that, it just made it feel less original and less individual. I don't think the energy of the character really warranted that style. She is energetic and she is, you know, very adventurous, but still it felt like it had to pay homage maybe to the past films. But overall, the cast is good. I think Henry Cavill, he's a little hit and miss for me as well. In this, I liked him as Sherlock, but I don't think the character is written all that well. I just didn't get a whole lot from that part of the film. Sam Claflin, I thought was quite good as well. Overall, the performances are solid. There's nothing really that terrible nor that amazing aside from, I think, the central one. Helena Bonham Carter is underused. I feel like she kind of just pops in and out a little bit, and I think she could have been more utilized.
I think that a lot of people are going to have a problem with Henry Cavill's performance in this movie, and I think it's because people are going to view this as a Sherlock Holmes movie, when in reality it's her movie, right. But people are going to view this as a Sherlock Holmes story, and they're going to be like, why is he written so basic? Why is he barely in the movie? Why is, his lines don't really carry that much weight or that much impact. He's kind of just there, and it's like, well, yeah, because he's a supporting character in this movie. But I think people might go into it expecting it to be a Sherlock Holmes story, but the whole point of it is that it's not that. He's a supporting character, and it's her story. So
yeah, I agree.
And I think this is one of those cases where it might have helped not to star-stud the cast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bonham Carter is definitely underused, and Henry Cavill's pretty underused. And, if those had been non-A-listers, it might have been a little bit easier to put them in the background,
Sorry, for a second I thought I wasn't recording all this time, but I am.
Oh. It would have been easier as a viewer to put them off to the side, like the story so clearly wanted them to be, but it's like you're staring and you're like, that's Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
That's Henry Cavill. Very famous people, so. Yeah. Like the Lord, the young Lord, he's pretty relatively unknown. So I think that worked for him.
I was not a huge fan, nor am I in general a huge fan of the fourth wall narration. I just think that does not add a whole lot, and it feels a bit obligatory. It's very much telling, not showing.
I feel like that was in there for the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Because there were a lot of times she turned to the camera and made a joke, or she was trying to figure something out and she turned to the camera and was like, do you have any ideas? Things like that. It's like,
yeah.
Stuff that is kind of underhanded, not for us adults.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I know what you mean.
As we've talked about a little bit, overall, with the length and what is there's just not a whole lot of memorable moments. It flows fairly quickly through things, and I felt like I didn't get a whole lot of time to really settle in with a certain scene or with certain characters. I thought probably one of the best scenes, as short as it is when she's walking with the older lady through the woods about halfway through the movie. I like that because it felt like the movie kind of came to a halt in a good way. Like it was just a peaceful conversation after all of this pretty manic action, and so it's a decent time waster. I don't know if it's anything amazing, nor is it really trying to be. I don't think, but it could have been a lot better.
Definitely better than the last kids movie on a streaming service I saw, which was Scoob. Just awful.
I didn't see that one. I didn't see it.
Oh, just awful. Trolls World Tour was better than Scoob, and Trolls World Tour is responsible for the death of movie theaters. So,
yeah, I didn't see Scoob, Jacob. I may at some point, but I heard, and it looked awful. Really looked awful.
Well, as a fan of Scooby-Doo,
oh, me too.
If you are a fan, I would not recommend it. The marketing is very misleading. You think it's going to be this movie about when they were kids, and, that it's like that for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and then it goes to when they're adults, and they bring in all the other Hanna-Barbera characters, and it just goes off the rails completely.
It's like a real It Comes at Night situation, yeah? The marketing is way off. People are pissed.
I have It Comes at Night at 5 stars on Letterboxd.
Hey, me too. I think. I hope I do. The score. Not to go off track here. The score is by Junkie XL for Scoob, who did Mad Max.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Should get that guy on the music buds.
Yeah, I would love to. All right. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that sticks out all that much. I'm just very excited to see where Millie Bobby Brown goes, because I mean, she has some more time with Stranger Things left, I'm guessing, but after that, I'm really curious to see where her career will go, because I think she has a lot of potential in a lot of different ways.
I think the 4th season of Stranger Things is the last, but you never know with these people.
No. The one thing, the score is by Daniel Pemberton, who also did The Dark Crystal last year until Netflix fucking canceled it. And he also did Steve Jobs, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Into the Spider-Verse. He's done a lot of great scores, and it's a pretty good score.
You know what composer I see everywhere, just on all kinds of random stuff that seems very unrelated. It's Bear McCreary.
Yeah,
to see him everywhere.
I actually sent him an email about a week or so ago. I'm hoping I hear back, but he is crazy prolific.
Yeah,
he has a ton of work.
So many different movies and video games.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else about Enola Holmes, Jacob?
I don't know, man.
It's okay.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jacob, out of 5?
Where did I get this? I think I give it a 4.
Okay. You still set on that?
Yeah, I feel like quarantine has turned me into a very positive person when it comes to... I've been giving movies a lot of 4s and 5s, and I think it's because I'm so starved for content that I'm just like, you know what, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Can't go to the movie theater anymore, so.
Yeah. I'll go light 3.5 for me. Well, no mail this week, but the FilmBuds podcast at gmail.com is where you can reach us at. Also, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FilmBuds. So please follow us there if you have not yet, as well as the Music Buds. We can end off with our pick of the week. Jacob, of all the things that you've been watching over the last few months, what's something that has stuck out to you besides Scoob as either really good, really bad, or just interesting?
Class Action Park.
Right. How is that?
Sure. Great. Amazing. It's it's sad that something like that existed, but it's also just insane. It's kind of like what drew me to Tiger King. Just like the absolute bonkers, is this real life kind of thing,
Yeah.
So I'd highly recommend it to everybody. It's on HBO Max. I just got a week free trial so that I could watch it.
Now, a quick thing, because I don't know a whole lot about this. Would you just say a quick little bit about what it is?
It was just this theme park that was mostly a water park, but also other things as well that in New Jersey. And the guy that owned it was just some like sleazy millionaire who bought a bunch of ski resorts and converted them into this theme park, and then it had like fake insurance through shell corporations and all this stuff. And his whole thing was he built all these rides that were just completely untested and completely unsafe, and then just let a bunch of teenagers run the park by themselves unsupervised. It was just this lawless land of death and injury that Ken Terrace, when he has stories about going there as a kid.
Wow. Well, one quick thing is, I know a friend of the show, Sky, who has his own podcast now. He just interviewed one of the directors, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you get all the cool music people. He's getting some of the cool movie people.
Yeah.
You guys gotta swap.
Yeah, dude.
Swap meet.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've just been watching a ton of random horror movies.
Yeah. Okay, well, my pick of the week is, it also relates to, I interviewed the composer Michael Dana, who did Life of Pi, and he did Moneyball, and a ton of other films, but that's on the Music Buds. I rewatched Surf's Up. Jacob, have you seen this?
I have.
It is he did the score for that as well. It is a fantastic film. It may sound silly to say that, but really, you got to give this one a chance. It's about penguins going surfing, and it could not be better. It is shot like a mockumentary, almost like The Office, but with penguins. Like, there are these talking head interviews with the penguins, and the humor, so much of it still holds up. It looks fantastic animation-wise. It came out in the late 2000s, I think. It still looks great. It's very funny. Has a very inspiring story, and it feels earnest in how it does it. Shia LaBeouf in the lead role. Great. They have a couple Green Day songs in there as well, which is awesome. Always a nice thing. And the score is excellent. Give it a poke.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
It's a classic, man. I watched it for the first time last year and could not believe how much I enjoyed it. So, yeah. And then just been rewatching Schitt's Creek a lot, which is great.
I need to start that.
It's great, man. Well, Jacob, I guess it seems weird doing it like this, but that's about it. Don't you think? Usually we go.
Where are you finding all these composers? They live around here? Are you flying them in?
No, I'm, as simple as it may sound, I'm just emailing their websites, and they're like, sure. That's all I'm doing. But no, most of them are out in LA.
Doing it over Zoom?
Oh yeah. We're quarantining, man.
You should fly them into the studio.
Yeah, if I had the money, I would do that. But still, of course, gotta do things safely. Check out the Music Buds. There's some really exciting stuff coming with that. Jacob, anything else you want to mention, man? Any thoughts?
Yeah, Chloe, if you're listening, you get back on the podcast.
Yeah,
we need to be on an episode again. It's been too long.
Yeah. Hopefully as I always say, you are welcome back anytime, and she should be back next week. If we can get you back on again sometime soon with the three of us, that'd be great. That is about it for the show. Again, we're keeping it short these days. Please rate, review the show if you haven't yet. We really appreciate that. Tell your friends. Well, Jacob, man, it's great to see you. Thanks again for doing this. It's been too long. We hope everybody enjoyed it as much as we did. And we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.